Hey, what's going on? Before the episode starts, my dog Benito kept barking. He wants attention. With a baby coming, I feel like he's lacking that attention. So yeah, he's gonna be barking on the episode. So I apologize for that. And there you go. You might be hearing him again. I apologize again, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode. It's a good one. Shout out Fabio for coming through. Enjoy. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the Carnales podcast. I'm your host, Tsunami. And today, there's no Yuri with us in the studio, but I have a second time coming. Is that a good
Yeah, returning guest.
The second coming.
I
had that in my head, but when I wanted to say it, it just went away. Returning guest. It was a very well liked episode that we recorded with you.
Okay.
And with us we have it was applause.
Oh, okay.
With us in the studio we have returning guest Fabio.
What's going on, guys? Welcome. Glad to be back. Welcome everybody to who's listening. It is a pleasure to be here talking about stuff, especially with Amner and everybody else who's listening. So yeah. So you want me to go ahead and start, or you want to do another quick intro?
First of all, let's talk a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into the topic.
Sure.
What you've been up to, bro, since the last time you were here?
I mean, honestly, man, just a lot of work. I don't know if I mentioned it last time. I think I did. I mentioned that I got a new job.
Oh yeah,
this summer. So just really focusing on that. Learning as much as I can from that area. But besides job, like personal stuff, just been working on little projects here and there, trying to teach myself how to do some, carpentry, or not carpentry, but just building stuff and like landscaping and all that. Just cool stuff like that. So, yeah, always trying to learn something new, just something fun, right? But that's how it is, man.
And is it a hobby, or people can hit you up like as a handyman?
Oh, no, bro. Definitely a hobby. If you hit me as a handyman, man, whatever it is that I build is going to fall apart, bro. So
it's done. It's all crooked.
It's like crooked, bro.
It never passes inspection.
No, don't invite an inspector, bro. You're going to be missing like 10 screws, man. Like, I'm an IKEA builder, like, where'd these extra 20 screws come from, man? They're so nice to include them, bro.
Hey, shout out IKEA. It's a process to build whatever you buy from it, but I feel like the instructions are well thought out.
Yeah, no, they are.
Shout out IKEA. Sponsor us, hit us up. So yeah, I'm glad you're back. And then I told you we were at church, and I was like, hey Fabio, when are you coming back? And that's when you told me, like, hey yo, like there's this topic I want to talk about. I want to hop on and talk about it. And I'm like, hey, let's do it.
For sure.
So dopamine.
Yeah.
Dopamine. And then you can take it away.
Okay, cool. So when you started like that, somebody who doesn't know, like, man, is that some kind of drug? And well, you know what? Yeah, you're kind of right. It is a drug, right?
Yeah.
It's a drug that's inside of everybody, every animal. Even worms, if you really want to get down to the specifics. Now, I will say that I am nowhere near an expert on this topic. I am not a neurologist or whatever, people who study this, or some psychiatrist, doctor. I'm just an amateur guy who read a little bit about it, has heard some podcasts, and have applied this and connect this to my life. So really, if anybody's listening to this, take this as an introduction or a gateway if you want to learn more about it, just like how I did. So I would say take everything with a grain of salt in a way, but you'll see what I mean. It'll make sense once I talk about it more.
Yeah.
So now dopamine, right? So today we're going to talk about dopamine and its effects, right? Now, while it is the intro, we're not going to really focus so much on the dopamine itself. We're going to focus more on the causes, right? I'm not going to get into the specifics of, dopamine's this chemical, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, So dopamine, it's the chemical that's inside of everybody's brain, and it's basically the chemical that is responsible for motivating people, right? So let me give you a little quick example. So pretend like you lived thousands of years ago before modern civilization, right? You're I don't know, let's call it a caveman or a hunter gatherer. You're out there, hunting for food, and so you're hungry, right? And then you need food, and so you go out there, you hunt, you're hunting, you haven't caught anything, and then suddenly you catch this big animal or you get this meat, and then when you catch that animal, that happy feeling that you get, like that's that rewarding feeling of, oh, I succeeded on this, that's attributed to dopamine inside your brain. Now that's a very prehistoric, basic example. Now we're gonna bring it to modern day times. So we're going to talk about a couple of terms. So I already said dopamine. The other one's it's going to be baseline.
Baseline.
Yeah, baseline. And if you want to think about baseline as kind of like the middle point. So if you're thinking about peaks and low, think about baseline as right in the middle. Okay. So if you want to get a throwback to math class, if you remember, your graphing chart, you have your positives. Then you have your zero, then you have the negatives, right? Yeah. So think about the baseline kind of like of that zero. Now the thing is that baseline can move up or down, but we'll get more into the specifics of it later. So I'm going to start off approaching it from this angle, because this is the angle that really impacted me the most. And if you really stop about it and you think about it, why are most people nowadays so depressed and so unmotivated? They have apathy. They don't really care about anything. Why do you think that is?
I think it's social media and the overall a phone.
Yeah.
Internet.
You know what? And that's exactly, I've come to the same conclusion. Because if you really look at it, it's more of a modern day thing. It's right after the 2000s.
Yeah.
If you go back to the 90s or, the 80s, how would you spend most of your days? Even early 2000s. I mean, back to our childhood, how would we spend most of our days except for Halo, right?
For real.
It was outside doing something, right?
Playing with Legos.
Playing soccer, with my chanclas over there. my like those one with the straps or whatever. Or there you go, yeah. Or riding bikes or whatever it is. You were outside. You were away from, television, games. You maybe played it how long? Maybe 4 hours, maybe on a weekend type of thing.
Yeah.
But really not a whole lot. Nowadays, how much time do you think you spend? Not just on phone, but phone, television, games, and just overall online connected to something.
Yeah.
If you had to give an hourly estimate,
for all the iPhone users, go to your screen time and then you'll have a rough estimate of how long you spend.
And that's just on phone. Yeah, that's just on phone. That's not.
Ahorita, I'm gonna come clean. I had to turn it off porque I was so ashamed. I mean, it all comes cause of work,
Right.
To make more time, I have to take a little break here and there. Yeah, I have to be on my phone, I mean, exactly. I could bring a book and read a little about it, which we'll be talking later on. I'm sure. Pero
you're right.
I'm either on TikTok, Instagram, or on YouTube,
Exactly.
or on Snapchat. So,
yeah, and I have the same app, or I there's the iPhone, but I downloaded a separate one that gives you notifications.
Okay,
it's called Off Screen. If anybody's interested in it, and like there were some days where my screen time would just for the phone would be like 4 hours, 5 hours. I think the most I've ever been is 8 hours. And obviously, that's including like map, because sometimes I would use my maps for work and traffic, an hour, 2 hours. But even still, 8 hours is a lot. Like that's a whole day of work.
Yeah, that's a shift.
Maybe I was working. Maybe I was on my phone the whole time I was at work. I hope my boss is not hearing this podcast. No, I don't know. But anyways, where was I? Yeah, so I've come to the conclusion that nowadays most people are depressed because of how much time they spend on social media.
Yeah.
and on their phones and you know, just video games overall, and even the content that they watch from Instagram to TikTok to porn to Facebook to all of those things, you know. And so what does that have to do with anything? Well, let's go back to dopamine, right? So I remember how I said that dopamine is like that happy chemical that, you know, for example, have you ever, you know, that feeling that you get when you do something, you know, that you really like and you're successful? Like, for example, I don't know, you just won a soccer game or you just won some championship and you just feel pumped. You know that pump that you feel? That's dopamine. That's dopamine hits. Now, what happens is, for every peak of dopamine, there is an equivalent dip of dopamine. So if you get a really high peak, your body has to regulate that back, right? Because you can't live a pump all the time. It's not gonna work out. If you are, you're not gonna really motivate yourself to get out there in a way. You're always like, okay, like riding that hype. You have to come back to the normal. It's just equilibrium. It's the law of you know, this universe of space. Everything has to balance out. There has to be an equilibrium, right? So for every peak, there's gonna be a dip, and the higher the peak it is, the bigger the dip is gonna be.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you experience something that makes your dopamine peak really, really high, once that dopamine wears off, if you imagine like a little chart, like, you know, like a little line going up, once it's its peak, it's going to start coming down, and it's going to keep coming down until it reaches the equivalent of the low point. So if it's really high, it's going to go really low. Now, what happens when that dopamine goes really, really low? What do you think you're going to experience? What are you going to feel?
Sadness, depression.
Depression. That's exactly it. If I've never experienced this myself, but there's some people who in the hospitals, they have to inject them. I don't remember for what exactly. They have to inject them some kind of drugs, and it's the opposite of dopamine. And once they get it injected with this drug, it makes their dopamine levels drop.
Okay.
And once they experience that, they experience the worst feeling in their life, where they just feel unmotivated, depressed, and they just want to die instantly. And so that is the effect of low dopamine. You feel depressed. You don't want to do anything. And you feel so negative. And most people think, why am I feeling like this? Like, they think it's something that, you know, it's not physical, something that's maybe, and it can be spiritual, of course.
Yeah.
It's spiritual, but something that's more like, you know, just like thoughts, but really goes into the physical realm a whole lot. So now, what does phone have to do with all this stuff, right? So here's the thing. Remember how I was talking about baseline earlier?
Yeah.
This baseline, think about it like the middle ground, like the normal, if you want to call it. The thing about this baseline is that it's never in one spot. It'll move. So for example, let's just say that you're on your phone all the time. Every time you see Instagram posts that you like, that's called a dopamine hit. Boop, little spike in dopamine, right? Anytime you eat chocolate, by the way, chocolate causes dopamine hit. You got a dopamine hit. Boop. When you smoke a cigarette, dopamine hit. When you watch a video that you like, dopamine hit. When you see somebody that you like, dopamine hit. There's a lot of dopamine hits, and we'll go into those in details later on. So the more constant that you're hitting hits, your baseline is gonna move up, and up, right? And it's gonna go higher. So what does that mean? That it means in order for you to feel normal, you're going to have to be constantly hitting those dopamine hits, those peaks, right?
Yeah.
So if you imagine your line, instead of a 0, now it's sitting at plus 10, you're going to have to always be finding things to get you to that plus 10, because that's your normal now, because that's what you're always constantly doing. Now, how can you apply that for the real world? Has that ever happened to you that you're on your phone, you put it down 2 seconds because you're bored or whatever you're watching,
Yeah.
2 seconds later you pick it up to look at something?
Yeah.
And you even notice that your leg is shaking, and you feel like that little, like, you know, like that tension, like tingly feeling inside, like, oh, I have to check it. You know what that's called? All of those dopamine hits?
No.
And having your baseline always riding high, that's called addiction.
Oh.
Yeah. So addiction is literally you being addicted to that chemical in your brain. And your brain always wants that chemical, because that's what it's always striving for. That's that good feeling. You don't want bad feeling. You want that good feeling. And the thing about the brain that is lazy, it'll go for the quickest, way to get that. And that is why a lot of people are unmotivated nowadays, because they're so used to things that give it quick, that they just want to go those things quickly and not the things that'll get them there a more healthier level, but slower. And we'll go in more detail what those slower things are. So for example, I'm gonna give you some examples of what dopamine hits. And we already mentioned some, right?
Yeah.
So give me 1 second. Let me pull up I took some little notes here. So for example, we said that chocolate gives you a dopamine hit. So imagine if your baseline is at 1, right? Eating a chocolate is going to multiply your levels of dopamine by 1.5. So when you eat it, so say you're at 1, multiply that 1.5, that's how high it's going to go, right?
Yeah.
What's another one? Sex, whether that's with somebody, thinking about it, or pornography, it'll multiply by 2. Smoking a cigarette multiplies it by 2.5. Cocaine, 2.5. Amphetamine multiplies it by 10. Now, in these numbers and stuff, I got it from another podcast. Not that I stole it, but again, I'm not an expert in this field, so this is somebody who is an expert. I will ask him to leave the link if you guys want to find out more about it.
Yeah, for sure. I'll share it on the Instagram.
Yeah, so amphetamine, that's times 10 of the baseline. So if you're at 1, that spikes all the way up to 10.
Yeah.
Now, remember, this is big spikes. That's why drug addicts, people who are addicted to drugs like amphetamine, like they have to get their hits. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
I got to get my fix, my hit because of this. And when they don't, remember, as big as it goes, it drops. So somebody who's on drugs, as soon as that fix and the hits wears off, that dopamine, that's going to drop. And how do you think they're going to feel? That's why they start shaking. Their body starts going crazy, bro.
So they're just waiting for that fix. They want that fix.
That dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And their baseline, and the problem is that their baseline, because they're always constantly doing, is going to keep rising, and it's just going to ride at 10. So for them to feel normal, because remember the baseline, if you want to think about it normal, is for them to always constantly be doing drugs. And so that's why it's really hard for them to feel normal, because their normal is always riding it that high. So what's another thing that causes dopamine hit? Exercising. If you like it, right? If you hate it, it's not going to give you dopamine because you don't like it in the first place, right? Challenges. Caffeine, and that's one. And caffeine, it gives you a very little bit, but it does. You drink coffee and you just kind of like that.
I can relate to that one. So sorry I interrupted you, but I can relate to energy drinks porque I was thinking about it today actually. Porque I was listening to a podcast y decía que energy drinks we don't think porque when we hear addiction we think about drugs, like methamphetamine, cocaine, weed. We never think about a food or drink, Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, am I addicted to Monsters?
Right.
Yeah, that's when también Jenny told me like, hey, you should stop drinking them porque I don't know if it's the universe trying to talk to me or trying to tell me to stop porque Jenny's she sends me TikToks about this one girl that she can't stop shaking because of energy drinks,
Right.
And then I listened to this one podcast trying to inform myself about dopamine y decía que sí que you I feel like I'm at that point que I can drink a Monster, I can go to sleep like 5 minutes later, Okay, I need something stronger,
Right.
So ahí es donde I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do drugs, but I feel like if I was to go by the scale, I feel like I needed that next fix, Porque por si the energy drinks is plus times 3, let's say, right? So I'm looking for that times 5.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and you again, yeah. If you're always doing that and that becomes your normal, then you need something higher to get your fix, right?
Yeah.
So now the thing about caffeine is that it's a very small hit, but it's an enhancer, meaning it'll make other hits feel even greater.
Oh.
So have you heard of the thing of where people have a cigarette with coffee?
Yeah.
Or they do coffee when they're doing some kind of activity. Or another one is music. When people are doing something, they play music because it enhances the dopamine hits. So that's maybe why you really like energy drinks, because it enhances whatever it is that you're doing that you really enjoy. Do you notice that you really crave it when you're doing something that you enjoy for the most part? Or is it almost?
No, I just use it to wake up, to go to work, and to come back to work.
Okay, but
that's usually when I drink them.
Okay, when you're watching a show that you really like, what do you like to have with you?
A snack,
right? Enhancers, right? Things. You see what I'm saying? So it's things that you really like, and then it turns out that if you're watching the show, what does the brain tell you right away? You need a snack.
You need some chips. You need a cold soda.
Yep. Dude, you see what I'm saying? Or you're eating. Oh, you're eating. You have to watch a show. You can't just eat and do nothing. That's what a weirdo, bro. Like, what are you doing? You see what I'm saying, though? Back then, people used to watch television, some of them. But for the most part, you sit around the table just eating, talking, doing nothing. You know?
And it's crazy porque that's companies know that.
Oh, of course.
Like in theaters,
Of course.
Like we went to watch a movie recently. No, not recently. A while ago. Before the movie starts, what's the first thing you see? The soda.
The soda with the popcorn.
With the gas. ¿Sí es así? The gas.
Yeah,
el gas.
Like the
the popcorn, carbonation. The popcorn, the snacks, like... I should go get one,
Right.
Sometimes you fight it because it's so expensive.
Well, yeah.
Pero de repente you're like, you know what? Screw it. The movie hasn't started. I'm going to go get it.
Right.
And it gets you,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess companies know how to get your fix.
Well, yeah, bro, they do. And it's a lot of manipulation, you know? Like, because what do? What do they show you right before you watch a movie? What's the trailer that they show you? People sitting in a movie theater watching a movie with popcorn, snacks, drinks. Because they're prepping you to make you think when you watch a movie you have to have snacks or you're not enjoying the movie. All of that is just enhancers, and then it just causes dopamine to even what do you think they have chocolate so much in movie theaters?
Oh, that's true.
With popcorn. Anyways, so yeah, that's dopamine hits. The more that you spend on it, the more it becomes your normal. Now the thing is that nowadays, and this is me, and by the way, me talking about this doesn't mean that I'm like perfect in this area. I'm still working on it. It's not easy. And then later on, we'll go more into details of how to tricks and things that we can do to help.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, ahorita, but I'm like, it's everywhere. How can we?
Yeah, and the answer is actually very simple. But before we get to the answer, let's keep talking more about the problem.
Yeah.
So what's the problem with phones and social media, right? Have you noticed that for you to enjoy certain comedies or certain things, like it just has to keep getting even more and more weird? Mm-hmm. Like you just look at Gen Z's, like their memes are just deep fried, and bro, like what? Okay, like we were simple, yeah, bro. We were like, yeah, dude, like I don't even know. But anyways, okay, so let's just say that you're using Instagram, right, or Facebook, whatever it is, TikTok. You haven't used it all day. The very first thing that you see, this is funny. This is awesome. You keep going, and it's cool. Dopamine hit. The next one, dopamine hit. Fourth one down, you're like, this is kind of boring, man. Like, why am I even watching this? And you're just aimlessly just going through it just because you're still trying to get that hit. But the thing is, let's just say that fourth video that you really didn't find funny, right? Or the picture that you didn't find amusing. Say that you saw that picture for the very first time 4 days later of not using your phone at all. Do you think you would have found that unfunny picture really funny then? Probably. Or that video really funny. Because in a way you can say that you were deprived of content. So what you don't find funny now, you find funny later. And that's what's that called, is dropping your baseline normality to be low. So here's an example.
Kind of like going back to normal?
Exactly. Okay. So doing the opposite. Uh-huh. And here's an example. Let's just say that you spend all day in your room sitting down doing nothing. You do 9 hours of you just sitting down on your room doing absolutely nothing. What do you think is going to happen to your baseline? Is it going to go up or down?
Down.
It's going to go down, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think would happen if any little bit of a small dopamine hits you? How do you think you're going to feel? Remember, your baseline is low.
It's gonna go up.
It's gonna go up, but it's gonna feel good.
Oh yeah.
Really, really good, because your baseline's already low.
Yeah.
So anything that peaks it, it feels amazing. Let's just say that you're really, 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 really bored in your room. You're 10 hours of just sitting down and doing nothing, and I don't know, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of an example. You pull out your phone and you see a picture. Suddenly that picture is the funniest picture you've ever seen because of that dopamine hit. Or you eat a little piece of chocolate, you know?
Yeah.
It just feels like the best piece of chocolate because you've been deprived. You've been bored all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it just feels even more intense. But what's the problem is that because it felt really intense, your brain starts chasing after that. And it starts chasing. And it wants more and more because it knows that's the shortcut, the quick way. Like, have you ever ate a piece of chocolate and you feel and if you really think about it, you feel like a small level of pain, like, I gotta have another one.
I can relate por decir, like, there's fasting days.
Mm-hmm.
You get done with the fast, you get that, you're like, let me eat this one chip, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Y de repente you're like, you know what? Me voy a servir el plato with salsa Valentina, and then you're like, okay, you get done with the plate, and then, I need another one, you know?
Yep, exactly. Then and you feel like that pain, like it almost hurts.
Porque you were como the baseline was down because un fast is por decir de 12 a 3 p.m., you know?
Sure. Yeah.
So you're craving that hit.
Yeah.
So I can relate.
Have you noticed that the 25 cents bag of hot Cheetos tastes way better than the family size?
Yep.
Why do you think that is? Because there's very little of it. And like, I'm going to savor these, man. And your brain's like, I don't have a lot of them. I'm going to enjoy these dopamine hits.
Then you finish them like, I want more.
Exactly, bro. But you have the big family bag.
Yeah.
So you're eating them and they're not ending, so you get used to it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's not really hitting you anymore and you're not really enjoying it. And you either put it down or you finish the bag because, well, out of habit and addiction.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So now that to me is what is ruining society, and companies know this and they purposefully exploit that. Especially YouTube, especially Facebook, especially Instagram, especially TikTok.
TikToks. Ahorita, as we were saying about that hit, I feel like TikTok's a real good one porque the algorithm, it gives you what you want.
Exactly. It knows you.
It knows you. It studies you. Like, por decir, un video que you don't like, por decir, you're into, like, for example, football, basketball, sports, let's see, collections, baseball cards and cars, you know? And then out of nowhere, you get this screen printing video. You're like, okay, I'm not interested in this. So you swipe right away, you know? Mm-hmm. So TikTok automatically, like, okay, let's not give him more videos of that. But he's stuck around for this car video. So let's give him more cars.
Exactly.
So I feel, ahí otra vez,
exactly.
Companies know
they know how to manipulate
how to keep you.
Because it makes it more money. And they don't care about your health. They care about your money, man. And if you gear your mindset around that, I'm doing this, is it benefiting me? No. Who am I benefiting? Some company who's making money. They're making money at my own destruction.
Yeah, I feel like we justify it, you know. But I'm learning how to grow my business. But I'm learning how to customize a Hot Wheel. I'm learning how to dribble a ball, you know.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, are you gonna do it?
No. No, and you won't do it. You know why? Because your body will take the shortcut for the dopamine hit, which is not building whatever it is you're trying to build, is watching the video instead. Yeah. That is why phones are destroying people's hobbies. Have you noticed that before pandemic, there was a lot of people, including myself, who were really into the gym, who were really into this or that or whatever it is, some kind of hobby. But suddenly they find themselves not enjoying that hobby anymore. And they just don't really want to do it. And they either give it up entirely or they barely do it or they don't enjoy it anymore. Yeah. And if you ever feel like you're in a rut with your hobby or whatever it is, this will apply. It is because you started using, because, you're locked down in your house. So all you could do was just phones and television and games and all that. Your brain got so addicted and used to that it doesn't enjoy the small things anymore because it doesn't give it the same quickness of highs that a phone will give it. And so that's why people just don't enjoy life anymore. They find life to be so boring. And to me, that's one of the reasons why people nowadays lack love and they're so apathetic, meaning they don't really care about anything, is because they're always riding that highs, that they're always also living the lows of those peaks. So now how can then somebody combat this? Well, first of all, you have to understand is that the best peaks are the ones that comes from tasks and challenges, meaning things that force you to go through a period of struggle to get those things. Why? Because your goal is not to drop the baseline super negative. You don't want to live in depression that any little thing makes it go, wow. No. Your goal is to basically keep it almost steady, like a nice steady pulse, like a little small peak, a little small drop, a little small peak, a little small drop, right around zero if you want to think about it, right? Not too positive, not too negative. Like you don't want to go super hype because the more hype you go, remember what happens? The bigger the drop will be. You want to keep it nice and steady. When you go like that, that's when you have a rewarding life, a life of peace, which is the biggest thing that most people like nowadays, by the way. Most people think that the ultimate goal is to be happy. That is wrong. Your ultimate goal is not to be happy because happiness will come and go. Your ultimate goal is to be at peace. That's really the ultimate goal, is peace, because happiness will go and it will come. Sadness will go and it will come. But if you can learn to be at peace while you're happy and while you're sad, you have one life. Now, many people have different definitions of what peace means. I personally, me, I believe in God and in Jesus, and I believe He's the only one who's going to give you peace. But not everybody's going to believe that, and that's, more power to you, is your own belief. I'm not going to force force you to believe anything. But at least know that that's what you should be striving for, is peace, right?
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother topic and a whole nother thing. We're not gonna get into that because that would make this podcast hours long. But anyways, back to what you want to strive for is to keep it nice and steady. Small peaks, small drops. Yeah. And when I say small, like very small. No peaks. And when you keep it steady like that, it's when you start to have a really rewarding, successful life. Have you noticed that after big challenges, whether it's graduation or big events like that, the people who feel the most joy tend to have the longest time of depressions right after it? Or like times or periods of where they just feel like unmotivated to do anything. Even I went through this right after finishing college, from about May to about, I would say, December of the same year. I felt that because I worked really hard for that, and for the whole month of May, I feel like high on it because, dude, I just finished university. But right afterwards, I couldn't find a job and all this, and with all of that mixed together with that drop. It was crazy, it's just, and that's when I understood, or not at that time, but now I understand what it was. Or for example, I'm not, I'm more female to know this, but there's a thing for people, for moms who just give birth, where they experience postpartum depression. Yeah. And that's because of that. They feel like, the joy. They just had a baby. Dang,
Yeah, Jenny was talking to me about it. She's like, please don't let me fall into that.
Yeah, and so that's because of that. That very same thing. It's that dopamine. So how can you combat this? Well, first of all, is to always be present. That's one of the keys. By present, I mean is just live the now.
Yeah.
Try not to get overhyped, and try to keep your emotions in control. Right. Now, obviously, some moments will you just can't control. You just feel like very excited, but just try to control it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be a boring person. Like, yeah, that's cool. No, not at all. You can be fun, funny, and cool.
Well, find that balance. No?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that way, when those moments come and you experience it, you don't experience a really big peak, and then you have to experience a really big depression, right? No, just try to keep a balance. So then, what's the best way? Well, to do things that are hard but rewarding. For example, exercising. Now, the thing is, it's kind of hard to get dopamine hits out of exercising if you hate it. So what do? Well, one of the things is that you have to just, and you just kind of have to do it. You really just have to do it.
Yeah.
eventually you will notice that you start to like it. And the thing is, you also have to do it in a form that you like it. If you hate weightlifting, don't do it. Go run, play a sport, swim, climb. There's many ways to do exercise. It doesn't have to be a sport, exercise, stretching, whatever. But find a way that you somewhat enjoy it. And now most people will say, well, reward yourself. But that's dangerous though. Why? Because then you'll get used to the rewards. And the moment that you don't have them, you won't want to do the exercise. So like the whole cheat meal thing, I don't really believe in that. If you really don't use it, you won't have a crutch for it and you won't have a need for it.
I feel like people that, I'm not an expert in exercising, but I feel like using the cheat meal gives you an excuse to fail,
Exactly. It
Be
does.
like, okay, I had my cheat meal. Be like, okay, but no, not an excuse to fail, pero como like.
No, I know what you're saying. Like in a way, you're almost
like
setting,
a trigger,
Yeah, like you're setting yourself up.
I need it.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, one more cheat meal is not gonna hurt,
Right. And obviously, I'm not saying that you have to spend your whole life eating healthy and you can't have something that's unhealthy. No, again, it has to be a balance in everything you do.
Yeah.
Don't indulge too much. And if you have something that's not good for you, don't have too much of it. Just a little bit. And when you do, don't try to get overly excited for it, where it causes a big dopamine hit for obvious reasons. Right? So, you have to really control your expectations and your experiences, right? You want to keep it nice, even, and balanced. Now, what kind of practical exercises can you do for this? Well, for starters, is you're going to really have to get off social media and your phone. If you have struggle with it, delete it. I deleted Facebook, and I'll be honest, I don't miss anything from it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people will say, well, I will miss talking to this person or that person or this or that. I get that, and sometimes because of that, you might want to keep it around. And if that's really the case, then ask yourself, do I really need it for that?
Do you have a messenger?
No. Now, Facebook, if you delete it, you don't have Messenger no longer.
Oh,
yeah. Facebook made it like that.
Because I don't have. I haven't checked, but I deactivated my Facebook years ago. But I have Messenger because the family.
Deactivated is different from deleted, though.
Oh, you deleted?
I deleted.
I didn't know how to do that, so.
Yeah, no, I deleted it, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, even if you deactivate it, it's still there. I deleted my Facebook completely. Like I can't even activate it anymore. It's just completely deleted. So, and actually, when you go to deactivate it, it'll ask you very small prints because I don't want you to. If you want to delete it, and it'll give you 30 days. If you don't log in after 30 days, just delete it forever.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, no, my Facebook is just gone. Because, well, another whole topic, but
yeah.
Privacy and again, the fact that they were doing all this to make themselves money and ruin people, and they are, considering how Instagram is owned by Facebook, then, so just get rid of all of it. Just really don't need it. Twitter, all that. And you'll find yourself being a lot happier. Not only just because of dopamine, but also because you stay out of a lot of drama and political news, whatever kind of news it is that just causes people to have stress and disagreement. Because nowadays you can't disagree with nobody.
I feel like that's how I was during the elections,
Oh yeah.
I became so not involved porque I wasn't speaking out. I wanted to, but I was like, with everything going on, the burning of buildings, I'm like, they're gonna come after me,
Yeah.
So I stayed away from speaking out, pero sí, social media was I was on it like most of the day, like, okay, this is going on. How come nobody's talking about it? How come shadow ban? How come all that?
Yeah.
I became so así. And I'm not. Maybe paranoid is a bad word, but I became so, como like.
I know what you're saying. You became very. I can't think of the
involved.
word.
No,
yeah,
not involved.
I think our viewer knows what you mean though. Like you became just like consumed by it in a way.
Consumed. Yeah.
You live and breathe it. Yeah, and
I had to step away, porque. First of all, I can't even vote. So I'm like, why am I thinking about this? Like, I can't even do anything about it. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna step away porque sí, me enojaba y I noticed that
takes your peace away.
I wasn't at peace.
Yeah, that's the goal, to take your peace away, right? So, just to quickly touch a little bit on the subject of social media, drama, and politics. I used to be exactly how you just said, very involved with it, and until one day I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, what is the purpose and goal of all of this? Because there has to be. Then I realized, and it clicked. It's not really so much about left versus right, or whatever it is you want to call it. It really isn't, because at the end of the day, is one thing only. It's about good versus evil, or rich versus poor. That's really what it's about.
Yeah.
Rich people, the ones who are really in control, and I'm not going to get into conspiracy because that's not the topic of today's podcast, but just to quickly touch on the subject, rich people don't really care about politics. They just care about money, right? And they'll use whatever means that they have to.
Rich get richer, the poor get poor.
Exactly. So really the point of all of this social media, in my opinion, is just to take people's peace away and cause division. Because when there is divisions, people can be easily manipulated to do whatever it is that they want, right? And so what am I saying by this? Am I telling you to influence you to follow any political party? No. In fact, I will recommend you to not even worry about it, because you're only doing what they want you to. Whether you're right or whether you're left, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. What do I encourage you to do instead? To turn it all off. Forget about the news, the media. Go outside. Go to your neighbor, no matter what they believe, and see how they're doing. Talk to them.
I like that, bro.
Dude, even if you disagree with them, talk to them.
Even if you guys disagree, agree to disagree, And
that's fine. And I'm not saying you have to get heated and talk about politics or whatever it is you want to talk about. If you disagree on music, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Talk about, find something that you both can agree on. Learn to love on each other. Spread that goodness, right? Without getting too religious here, but like that's really should be our goal, is not to really get angry at people. He said this, they said that. No, dude, just forget all about that and just really go out there and just love on everybody. Because really, that's the only thing that's gonna change the world is love.
Yep.
Right.
And that's what the world needs right now.
It really does, dude. Everybody's angry, and the way that they are is just because they lack love so much. And what we talked about today, right? But anyway, so back to our topic. Back to the topic of dopamine and all of this stuff is it's what's really killing society, especially our younger generation, right? Gen Z's and up, and the new ones, Alpha or whatever they are.
I think I stopped at Gen Z.
Well, yeah, I think as Z it starts again with the A's, alphas. But anyways, yeah. So now, how can you do this? Well, limit how much time you spend on social media, on your phones. Try to obviously don't go to cold turkey if you want. Yeah, go ahead. But that's gonna be rough. Reduce it every day or every week. Reduce it by half an hour, until you get to a point where you're not really using it. Try to occupy yourself, right?
Yeah.
And this is the one thing that I recommend. And you can start with it at least one day a week. And try to increase it to every day of your life. Take 1 hour of your day. This is going to sound crazy, and you're going to be like, what is this dude talking about? But trust me, this is going to work. Take 1 hour of your day. Lock yourself in your room. Turn off all devices. Lights. Whatever it is. Pitch black. Now you're saying, what? Pitch black? Well, here's why. Because you don't want anything to distract you, right?
Yeah.
Because if there's light, you're going to see, I don't know, here's a Hot Wheel collection. You're going to see Hot Wheels, and you're going to start thinking about those Hot Wheels, and you're going to
which one don't I have? Which one do I need?
And then the thing is that suddenly your brain's going to make you go, hey, you should go check Amazon to see which one. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your brain is going to use whatever it can to get you to get there, bro.
Yeah.
So when you limit the amount of distractions, your brain really starts to go haywire and panic and go crazy. So try this. Now you may say, well, I don't need to do that because I'm not addicted. I'm like, okay, well then try it. See if you really aren't. And see if you can. Take an hour, just sit in your room, do nothing. Nothing.
Sit there.
Just nothing. If you can't and you start fidgeting, it's because you are addicted to something and you really lack peace. And you're gonna notice how your mind is gonna start getting filled with a bunch of thoughts, of bunch of things that you have to do, things this, and your brain is gonna almost force you, almost like at gunpoint, to go check your phone or go do this or do something, and it won't want to sit still. Now, Fabio, what can I do during this hour? Well, I mean, maybe again, Christian, I would pray, right, or I would meditate, right. I even prayer, I would limit it to just meditation. I wouldn't really try to speak because again, your brain is just once it's addicted to something, bro. It'll use whatever means it can to force you and trick you to get there, and whatever it is. But just do that. An hour of just silence. Yeah. And what's the point of it? It's think of it like a detox. You're just detoxing your body of it. You're dropping your baseline. You come out of that. Obviously, don't go straight to your phone because you're just gonna ruin everything you just said. Read a book. Go for a jog. Anything, knitting, whatever it is, exercise, whatever, just whatever. Something that requires challenges. And you'll notice that slowly but surely you're gonna start enjoying those things either for the first time or again how you did it before.
I've also heard journaling helps a lot too.
Oh yeah, because journaling, it helps you get your thoughts out of your head into something. It's like a gate, like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a vehicle. And in fact, if you hate something, journal it, and you'll see that you're gonna start liking. If you hate the gym, start journaling it. I went to the gym. I did this. I did this. It puts into perspective what you did.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It cements what you did. Like, oh, I did that, didn't I? I lifted 3 plates of 45. Whatever it is. And you notice that you go look yourself in the mirror and you see how you're starting to look good. Dopamine hit. You suddenly start liking the gym more. But anyways, or running, whatever you like about exercise, right? So, yeah. So really, the key goal here is just limit stuff that causes you to have quick dopamine hits that wear off really quickly. You want to go for the things that's more slower burn that causes dopamine hits to last longer. Another one that seems kind of crazy, but I've tried this one and I actually enjoy it, and I can't go back to doing this thing normal, is taking cold showers. Even in winter. Obviously, in winter, you don't put it all the way cold because, right? You also don't want to stress yourself out because when you take cold showers, your body releases stress hormones. And so to combat those stress hormones, your body also releases dopamine. So showering also causes you to have a dopamine hit. But this one's a little bit different because the peaks last longer and they're not as high. So if you're ever going to do something, take cold showers. And that's not to be every day. It could be every other day. Maybe if you shower twice, maybe it's only one, and the other one's a warm. Try not to do hot, just because hot, it can be good for you, but it also causes damage to your skin and dryness. But yeah, try it. Cold showering, it really helps. It helps clear your mind. It really helps.
When I was trying to research about this, I wanted to do it for a week. But I would always forget. Like once I was done showering, I was like, I was supposed to shower hot.
Yeah.
Porque it's beginning to get cold, So you're like automatically like, I have to go not hot but warm,
Yeah. And the thing is, dude, is that even cold now, my body doesn't like hot showers. When I take hot showers, it feels weird. It might be that it's getting used to the dopamine hits of the cold showers. Who knows? But cold shower starts feeling really, really good. At first, you'll kind of hate them. Mm-hmm. And again, you don't want to force yourself to do them because you don't want to hate them. Just hate it either. Start hot, right? And right when you're done, showering, take the last minute and slowly start turning the shower head knob or whatever, and make it colder until you can barely handle. And then once you reach that point, just hold it there for the longest that you can, and just after you're done, just go ahead and just end your shower and go change, right? And do that every day until you get to the point where you can start it, lukewarm to cold. How cold? Well, it depends. In the summers, you can probably handle it. In winter, probably can't handle the full cold, but the coldest that you can, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just looking over my notes real quick, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Try to do things that are more challenging, are slower process, but give you better rewards at the end. Not only are you gonna get a better rewards, that you're gonna feel more, you're gonna enjoy life more because you're not hitting peaks and lows, but you're also gonna get the benefits of whatever it is that you're doing. If it's reading, you're gonna have a bigger vocabulary. You're gonna be smarter of whatever thing you're reading. If it's exercising, you're gonna look better. If it's a sport, you know what I'm saying. It's those things. So avoid video games as much as you can. Avoid phones, which I gotta work on games and phones, and avoid all quick and short, easy ones. Right?
Yeah.
Real quick on the topic of video games, why do you think first-person shooters are the ones dominating right now?
Because it makes you feel like you're there.
Well, it's because it's the game that's the quickest, right? You're in and out. You're in a game, like there's Fortnite, for example.
Oh, okay.
You're in right away. You're fighting, blah 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 blah. Reward, you're out. Or Call of Duty, you're in a match. I got 20 kills, quick.
Oh, okay.
You enjoy that. But those slower games, like I don't know, like those slower RPG games, like I don't know, like what most people play, like Dark Souls or whatever.
The racing games,
or whatever it is. So games that you have to do more, that take longer, right?
Oh, okay.
People tend to join them less, or they seem to be less popular.
Okay.
Although they're starting to come back into popularity now, but amongst the younger fans, right? Most of the quick games is like Smash Bros. Or FIFA or Call of Duty or Fortnite, Apex, because those are the quick pace game. Get in, get out, get in, get out. Quick dopamine hits, right? Versus playing a slow game, that takes more time and
like strategic games.
Yeah, or like those open world games where you gotta explore and do little side quests. Type of stuff. Yeah. So again, but anyways, you want to cut all those out in the first place. Limit yourself to how much you play a day. Maybe you only play an hour. Maybe you only play every other day and only play an hour, right? Maybe you only play the weekends and max yourself out to 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever it is. Obviously, if you want, you can start cold turkey, but just work your way there. Don't stress about it. Don't think about it too much, but do something about it, right? Yeah. If you want, right? This is if you don't enjoy life the way it is going right now, and ask yourself, why am I feeling the way that I feel? Well, it's because you lack a goal and motivation. Because all you do is just probably spend most of your time just, obviously you go to work, but then after work, the free time, spend it on a phone or doing whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is not everybody's reason. Everybody has different reasons. But I'm just, naming this aspect, right? And if this applies to you, well, then hopefully you can take something out of this and do something to help better your life, right?
Yeah. So if you're feeling how you said, así como like depressed, no energy, try this out.
Sure.
And you're gonna see the difference,
Yeah, and
Porque I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Porque when I do my social media fast, where I'm not on there for a week, for a month, for 3 days, I notice the difference, I feel more productive. I feel like I do more around the house. Yeah, porque I notice when let's say I'm not on it for a week, y as soon as it hits 12, I'm on it. Yeah, I need to catch up, I have friends that send me TikToks and
I'm missing out.
I'm like, I need to go through all of them.
That's the hook.
Y así es. I catch myself sometimes where I'm trying to do something, pero I'm on TikTok. Yeah. Y de repente I'm an hour in. I'm still swiping up, swiping. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I noticed the difference when I'm not on social media to when I'm on social media,
Yeah, and again, that's another excuse that they use, is that you'll miss out. You really won't. One way or another, if it's important, it'll reach you.
Yeah.
If it doesn't reach you, because it really wasn't important in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So that's another takeaway. And if you try it, don't expect results to happen like in 2 days. Try for 30 days, right?
Yeah.
Another effect of dopamine is that it really tends to cloud your mind and your thoughts, and you have slower reaction times, and you find it really hard to think, and it's just hard, and you feel like you don't learn as well as you did back then. You find it harder to learn. So when you clear yourself of that, you feel like you think better, when you do a dopamine fast, you think better, you have better reaction times for stuff. So, but yeah, just try it out for 30 days. 30 days, say, you know what, for 30 days, I'm not going to play video games. I'm not going to use my phone. No social media at all. I only use my phone to reply to text to people, for obvious reasons, right? Like making calls or maps, maybe music. And music is not bad either, right? Like, just don't overdo it. Like, for example, if you're exercising, don't have music all the time, because then you're going to develop a crutch for it. You won't be able to exercise without music.
Yeah.
But try to limit yourself as much as you can. And what should you do for that time? Well, either meditate, right? Read a book.
You think like going to the gym, taking those energy not substances, but pre-workouts, energy drinks.
Good thing you touched on that. That's another thing I was going to touch on, actually, and I forgot. What do I think about that? I think those things are enhancers, and to the point that they eventually will ruin your experience.
So it's kind of like the popcorn while watching a movie.
The thing is that if you're always taking pre-workout, eventually it's not going to have this effect.
Yeah,
right?
Porque that's what I tell some of my friends that hit the gym. I'm like, try going to the gym without drinking none of that, without taking none of that. You're gonna feel non-energetic, non-motivated.
Not motivated. And they're not gonna feel like the workout was successful.
Yeah.
And it's not because it wasn't, but because their brain is telling them, you didn't take this, so therefore you didn't get the biggest dopamine hit as you would have, therefore it's not as good. So what do I say? If you're gonna take pre-workout, creatine, all of that stuff, take it only on days that you know you're gonna go really, really heavy. Workouts, like leg days, right? I would only use it for leg days.
Yeah.
Days that, and even then, I was still like using it on and off. I'll use it on a random day, just throw my brain off. Like, what am I taking today, right? But try to limit. In fact, try not to use it if you don't even need it at all.
Okay.
Instead, just have a nice, good meal before you work out. And obviously, an hour, right? Not like 5 minutes before you work out. But like, whatever it is, pasta. Like, I don't know. People who work out know what to eat, but. Yeah,
What they're doing now is eating a Rice Krispie before they go out.
Rice Krispie.
Porque the pump is way better, or your pump is bigger. I don't know a way to say
I don't know a bunch about that stuff. But again, just don't let anything become a crutch, right?
Yeah.
Just if you do something too much and you catch yourself doing something too much, cut it off and try not to use that one thing so you don't depend on it. This is my takeaway for this. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it that I wanted to cover about this. So, yeah, I mean, do you have like any questions about this or anything else you want to say?
No, pues I hope like anybody that's going through a low period in their life,
Yeah.
I like try this,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna notice the change, the effect of it, Porque I'm telling you, when I take those social media fasts, when I try reading, you feel better,
Mm-hmm.
It's compared to when you're just on social media, not doing anything productive.
Yeah, and obviously this applies if you don't know the reason for why you feel the way you do. Obviously, if you're feeling the way you do because of a certain situation that's going on, well, obviously that's because of that. Like a recent death or some family home situation that's tough. Obviously, that's because of that. But if you're just finding yourself unmotivated and depressed almost for silly reasons, and when I say silly, I'm putting those on quotes. Not that these things are silly. To me, these things are serious, right?
Yeah.
But you just don't really understand why. Just give this a try, it's a way. Now, obviously, supplement it with something positive. Now, what am I gonna recommend you again? Now, I know a lot of users and viewers and listeners are gonna get turned off by this, but I would recommend, when you meditate, search for God. That's to me. That's my answer for that. Best answer. That's the best positive thing you can replace it with. And to me, it's the only one thing that can really give you peace. Yeah. But I know everybody's different, and they won't believe the same thing, and that's fine. I'm not gonna judge you for it, nor will I get angry and try to debate it, right? Because that's not the point or that shouldn't be the point. It's just we should be happy with disagreeing with each other.
There you go. I really want to try that locking, well, not locking, or locking yourself in the dark room, and just seeing how my body reacts. Porque I know I'm gonna be thinking about the phone, like, hey, what could be going on,
You know what, bro? And I know this is already an hour into the podcast, or about to be, but the crazy thing is it's gonna go even beyond that. It's gonna reveal to you things that have been causing you to have anxiety as well, and all those thoughts and all of those things, because you don't have anything to distract you from them anymore.
Y ahorita, something I'm struggling with is the short temper, bro. Okay. I don't know if it's my job. It could be the social media, pero I see like right away, boom, I'm angry. I'm not mad. So
yeah.
So yeah. I mean, you're telling me this. Yeah, it's things I know. Be like, okay, keep that phone away. Limit it to 15 minutes per day, per hour. I don't know.
Yeah.
Porque see, there's days que I'm just on it. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Yeah, I try to justify it like, oh, it's content for the podcast.
Right. Yeah.
But in reality, I never talk about it.
Yeah. No. Again, your brain will find excuses just to get there, right? But. Yeah, no, just try it, and you'll see that through this, you'll either A, find the reason for that anger. If you really pay attention to your thoughts, you'll see why. Or B, it'll just go away in its own. So, yeah. But yeah, I encourage everybody just to give that a try. And obviously, it'll be hard to do an hour. Maybe start with 5 minutes, and each day try to go longer until you actually develop into an hour. And an hour should be the minimum, by the way. If you can do more power to you.
I'll probably just. I'm excited to try it, bro.
Again, don't go cold turkey. Start little, but actually do increase it, right?
Yeah.
And trust me, it's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel. At first, it might not, but eventually it will. Yeah. It's very much needed by everybody.
Ahorita, quick. Porque as you were saying, así el dopamine. It might not be related to it, but you know what happened with the Travis Scott concert? Well, how people got out of control. You think that was a factor in it, or? Porque it was crazy how people just lost their humanity, Like they were trampling people, they were stomping on people, they were pushing people against the barricades.
Yeah,
I feel like it might be something different, right?
Well, that's I think that's a culmination of a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Not just one thing. There's a lot of there's the crowd effects, right? Where you tend to follow what everybody's doing in the crowd. The whole crowd is hype. You tend to go hype with the crowd. And it's not that you want to, but it's just what's tends to happen. If a whole crowd is panicking, what do you tend to do? Panic. You tend to panic. It's just like human nature to really follow what the crowd is doing because it's part of fitting in and all this stuff. Now, how does the dopamine stuff fit into it? I think if you really want to get super specific, it does have an effect into it just for the fact that the more you live in a state like that, the more you really just only think about yourself and not others, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, the more you live like that, you really only think about getting your hit, and so it makes you so much. It does make you selfish, not love others. Now, am I saying all those people in the crowd are selfish? No, that's not what I'm trying to go for. But what really I'm trying to say is that it really doesn't make you aware of your surrounding and the people suffering around you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now, to relate to the Travis Scott, it's a very sad thing that happened. It shouldn't have happened, and there's many things or many reasons why it did. I can't say that it was directly related to this, though you can make some connections to it. But it's a very sad thing though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy what happened, man.
Dude, I honestly, man, the world right now is a very interesting place. That's at least to say. And it always has been, but now we just have means of seeing it a lot more and means of people gathering to do stuff a lot more, from good things to bad things, right? So the only thing that I can truly say is that through all of this, the only really thing that we should be really striving for again is to have peace,
be at peace,
and to love not only your neighbors, and obviously not only God, but yourself as well.
Yeah.
And when I say love yourself, I'm not talking about in a selfish, egoistic way, but in a way where this what we just talked about today. Love yourself enough where you're like, hey, I don't want to destroy myself like this. You know, I gotta take care of myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. Hope somebody got something out of it. Hope. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
On the podcast,
aquí,
schooling us on some something that it's going on not only in the youth but like the grown-ups también, you know.
Oh, dude,
that lack of motivation, that lack of love, that lack of peace.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, man. Hopefully somebody listening can relate and put this into perspective, you know, and hopefully change their life, you know.
Yeah.
Give them back that peace, that happiness, that self-worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, if from this you manage to change your life and turn it for the better, don't forget that you can also use this to change the world. And then remember that changing the world doesn't mean that you have to go all around the world changing everybody. But just remember that if you change a single person or impact a single person, you just impacted a whole world. That person's world.
Oh,
so
that's deep.
Yeah, you know, so dude, just take it, learn it, and if it does you good, you know, help others. That should be the goal. The best way to feel better about yourself is to help others.
Yep. And that's what we're about.
Yep.
Like, we don't care if a million people listen to this podcast, as long as we impact that one person.
Exactly.
Yeah, I liked what you said. As long as we change their world.
Exactly.
So yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks,
man. I appreciate it.
You came on to talk about this to the listeners, but I got stuff from it, bro. Yeah, I definitely have things I need to work on, and
yeah, we all do, man. Even me, even I have to work on all this stuff. I'm not perfect at it.
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna be trying some things out. Y sí, bro, I get closer to God porque I've been slacking on that.
Yeah.
Y sí, bro, Matias is on the way. Yeah, man. I need that guidance back, yo.
He needs that role model, bro.
Yeah.
So. That's so good, man. You'll be fine.
Yeah, we can go a whole another hour just talking about.
Yep.
Pero sí, man. Ya. I apologize ahorita on the air for making you. We were supposed to meet at 7, but I can't.
Oh, no,
it's my uncle's birthday. Happy birthday, Tio Jose, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Pero sí, it was a good episode. I hope somebody enjoyed it. Hope somebody got something from it. Any shout outs you want to give? Anything you want to tell the people?
Oh, shout outs, man. I didn't think about it. You know, just honestly, just shout out to all the people who are just tuning in. Yeah. Really, bro. Especially the ones who tune in frequently and following. Again, you're helping out even Amner here, or the Carnales, right? Because when you tune in, it helps the algorithm spread it even more and all the people hear it. So I actually want to give a shout outs to all the listeners, because really in the end, after God, they are what make this possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, shout out to every single one. If you're listening to this, shout out to you. We love you and thank you guys for listening.
Yep. Thanks guys.
There you go. All right. Hope you guys have a good week. Anything you want to say before we end it?
I think that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think of some kind of catchphrase, some cool witty line to end it on. Yeah, I guess just go out there and impact the world. That's
somebody's world.
Yeah, impact somebody's world. There you go. There you go.
Have a good weekend. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys have a blessed life, happy life, and be at peace.
Exactly. There you go. Amen.